Good morning, Taste Buds. I'm Chef Michelle Bernstein. Today I'm wallowing in fabulous, decadent desserts to properly honor National Dessert Day. Don't go anywhere. Desserts are next on SoFlo Taste. How fun is that? Good morning, all. I'm Chef Michelle Bernstein, and I'm front and center at the Goya Kitchen and the Culinary Lab at Florida Education Institute. Welcome all to SoFlo Taste. What days have you got circled on your calendar or highlighted in your phone? Birthdays? Anniversaries? Tax day? Well, let me tell you which day I highlight every year. National Dessert Day, and it's coming this week. So time to make some of our favorites, or at least my favorites, which I'm sure can become your favorites. Let's get cooking. This is the first apple crisp recipe I ever made. My first chef job was at the Redfish Grill in Coral Gables. Crazy, I was so young. And I opened up this old book, this Southern guy, Lee Bailey, and I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna make an apple crisp. And I ended up having to make about 600 portions a day because it became so popular. And I never made it again, but I thought I'd make it for you. So I changed it up a little bit, adding some little things here and there. First of all, I love to take golden raisins and soak them in pretty much anything you feel like soaking it in. I stole some of my husband's brandy and I put that in here, as well as some orange rind, not zest, but the whole rind. I also have 1 cinnamon stick and 2 cloves, and I just let that go. And you can let it go pretty much forever because drunk raisins last forever, and you can use them on any recipe you like. And these have been in there for a couple days, just gathering flavor, macerating, if you will. So let's add some of the raisins to this. Mr. Bailey used to add dried cherries to his. I liked it, but I happen to love the raisins for some reason in this recipe even more. I'm trying to make sure I don't get any of the clove in there because that's a little too much for me. With that, I'm going to add just a little bit of sugar, not too much, a little bit of cinnamon, and some vanilla extract. Go ahead and mix that together. I love adding just a little touch of lemon to bring out the natural tartness in the Granny Smith apple, which is what I used today. Mix one more time. And then go ahead into whatever it is you want to cook it in. I will tell you, this recipe is not huge, so don't put it into something too big where the apples are just gonna, as they cook, smush down too flat, and then you're gonna lose all the density. Let's jump into the crust. So this is a crisp, not a cobbler, not a Betty, a crisp, which basically is a very simple recipe of, this is the butter, some all-purpose flour. This recipe takes white sugar, but if you like, you can add half brown, half white, up to you. A heavy pinch of salt and some more cinnamon. All right, so go ahead and work it with your hands. You definitely want the butter to be really good and cold. If not, it will stick to your hands a little too much. But this is really the best way to bring this together. I find that in a food processor, it just becomes a little bit too fine, where I like big chunks of crisp dough for my crisps. We lined a little cookie sheet to my right with aluminum foil. You can also use parchment paper, it's up to you. But remember, crisps should have like drippings coming out of it. That kind of tells you when it's ready, when the juices start running down the side of the pan, which is what you always want. And so we always try to protect the oven by throwing a pan underneath it. So this is coming together. You see how, as when you press, it comes together. That's when you know it's ready. I happen to like those big chunks. So let's go ahead and place the crisp on the pan. Place this in front of me. We're gonna do some nice big chunks, and if they fall, they fall. I'm sitting on foil, we're good. Some more. I have my oven set nice and high. We're at about 350, 365 right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and bake this until the crust gets beautifully crispy. And when you come back, I have a beautiful creamy dessert for you, just waiting for you. So come right back. I will see you in a few.
Come back to SoFlo Taste from the Goya Kitchen at the Culinary Lab at Florida Education Institute, here on Local 10. It's a Milam's Markets Minute. Here's Melinda Harper.
Christy, we know that Milam's has a wonderful seafood selection, one of the best, which leads us to your sushi case. Can you tell me more about the sushi? It looks so fresh and so delicious.
So our sushi is made fresh daily, every morning by our talented sushi chefs. And we have, of course, regular rolls, raw and cooked sushi selection. We have bowls, and we also have platters for the tailgates or large parties, graduations, anything.
And you can get them with seafood or without.
Yes, I actually normally buy the vegetable roll, but one of my favorites is this crispy, crunchy crab roll.
Yes.
It has that spicy mayo sauce. I don't know what's in it. It's pure magic, some fried onions. It's got crab, cucumber, avocado. It's absolutely
delicious.
Yeah, the best for lunch.
So if you want to taste the best sushi in town, stop by Milam's.
We have 6 locations in Miami-Dade, but if you can't make it over to visit us, just order online and we'll deliver the sushi fresh to your door.
But I recommend coming in to see the selection, see the seafood. You just got to come in to see it for yourself.
We look forward to seeing you.
Located in the heart of Coral Gables, Florida Education Institute's Culinary Arts program offers students a unique education that focuses on the international culinary fundamentals. In just months, you can graduate from FEI Culinary Arts program and begin your exciting new career on the dynamic SoFlo culinary scene. For more information, visit fei.edu/culinary-arts. Come and learn the right way, and who knows, maybe someday we'll be working together. All right, everyone, I'm going to show you the easiest chocolate mousse you will ever make. I have ever made. What we did was we're going ahead and heating some heavy cream up in this pot. We're going to add some yummy dark chocolate. The better the chocolate, the better the mousse, the better the taste of absolutely everything you're making. So we're just going to let that sit for a few seconds and begin melting before we start mixing. I'll tell you what everything else is because we're going to add this in a second. This is instant espresso powder, cocoa powder, and then vanilla. I'm using paste today, but if you only have extract, all good. And then, of course, you have to balance it out with a little bit of salt. Now that I have taken a long time to say all that, we're melting. So go ahead and start mixing this up. You can use a whisk if you want to, or rub a spatula if you want to. But you definitely need to make sure that all of that delicious dark chocolate, and by the way, I'm using 70% here. I didn't go into the 80s because we're not adding really any sugar at all, if you haven't noticed. So the higher up you go, the more bitter it will be. And I figured something between 60 and 70% chocolate would be perfect. So we're almost completely melted at this point. Go ahead and add everything that I had aforementioned. And then the vanilla. I'm going to swap out to a whisk. And let's whisk this all together. That was really the hardest part of the whole recipe. Okay, I'm going to pour this into a bowl that is sitting inside of a bowl of ice water. You don't have to do this part. This is only if you really want your cream chocolate mixture to get cold right away. If not, you can really just put the whole thing in the fridge. It takes, about an hour or two to get it really good and cold. But I'm always in a hurry, so I'm always figuring out ways to make things a little bit quicker. So I'm whisking out the steam, allowing it to become the same temperature as the bowl it's sitting in. And remember, this is made of all heavy cream. And what is a mousse really? It's a frothy whipped, either egg white or whipped cream dish with chocolate. So what we're going to do here, and all we have to do here, is turn this into whipped cream, essentially. So once it gets cold, it is heavy cream and it will whip. But if you try whipping it while it's still hot, nothing's going to happen. Now I always serve this with some kind of whipped topping. Today I made some whipped cream with a little bit of sour cream in it. So all I'm going to do here, and I know you're going to want to go on break, so I'm going to whip this for about 8 minutes, maybe, until it becomes whipped cream. At least it looks like whipped cream. It's really a mousse. Do not over whip, because then it will break and it will eventually turn into a very dark looking butter, which is weird. Come right back because I have more desserts. You're watching SoFlo Taste on the one and only Local 10. Just wait till you see the next one. We'll see what's cooking on SoFlo Taste right after this. Welcome back to SoFlo Taste. Today's recipes, along with all my others, are available on the SoFlo Show's webpage. Just scan this quick response code for an instant trip to the SoFlo Show's page with the smiling faces of Elena Capra and Hunter Friendy there too. You'll also see this QR code on the ingredient list throughout today's show. Now, back to my recipe celebrating National Dessert Day. What a great day. All right, everyone. Not only did I make a very seasonal recipe, I also made one that I haven't made in over a decade. Can you believe it's been a decade since I made a creme brulee? So I decided to make a pumpkin creme brulee. So let's make a perfect creme brulee. And if you don't want to add the pumpkin in it, by the way, just take the recipe, use it exactly the way it is without the pumpkin and the pumpkin spices, and you will have a delicious creme brulee as well. So to start out, I have half milk and half cream, so essentially half and half, but I never actually use half and half, in a pot. And I'm going to build all the spices by warming them into that cream milk mixture, as well as melt half of the sugar into the mixture. Let's go ahead and turn it on nice and low-ish to let that allow it to work a little bit. Now this is, by the way, an induction cooktop. It came from the good people at General Hotel and Restaurant Supply and the Volrath Company. General has been a SoFlo kitchen equipment destination for 7 decades. That's a long time. Visit their showroom with thousands of items for both the home cook and the professional chef in Miami Lakes, or online at generalhotel.com. Either way, visit them. They make everything taste better. Okay, so let's go ahead and whip the eggs now with the rest of the sugar. Pour that right in there. This is a job my son loves to do, is the whipping. Even though he thinks he doesn't eat eggs, he does, because he eats creme brulee. So go ahead and whip this until the color of the yolk, it's a little bit lighter. Okay, very good. So let's come over here, see how this is doing, this mixture. We really need this sugar to melt. So let's let that sit for just a minute. Let's top off our chocolate mousse. So I think I already told you, the whipped cream on the top of the mousse is sour cream added to a little bit of whipped cream that I make just to take away any sweetness, because I do add a little powdered sugar in there. Now I love hazelnuts with chocolate, and I love the crunch of the nut with the mousse. So I'm going to put a little bit of hazelnut right on top of there, and then we take some bitter sweet chocolate, and shave a little bit right over the top of the whipped cream as well. So I made this mousse yesterday because it really works a little better when you throw it in the fridge overnight, because it stiffens up quite a bit. And I put it into the cups while it was still a little softer, let that sit overnight, and now you have a beautiful textured mousse. But we also are whipping the mousse in the back, because like I said, it does take about 8 to 10, sometimes 12 minutes. And I'm going to show you what that looks like in just a couple minutes. But this is what the finished plate looks like. And they are so yummy. And didn't you think that was easy? I mean, that was really nothing. Let's come back to this. Our sugar has now melted. I can feel, actually I can't feel, which is how I know that the sugar has melted. All right, let's go ahead and shut this off. And what we're gonna do is something called tempering. So we're gonna bring up the temperature of the eggs, which are basically about room temperature, because I love using room temperature eggs in baking. And this is really nice and hot. So you wanna go little by little. So the best way to do that is by putting a wet, sort of wet, towel underneath the bowl so you don't have to hold it with a hand. And we are going to start whisking as we add hot liquid. And this will temper in the temperature of the cream. So now that I have about a third of the mixture in, now we can actually take the rest of it, now that the temperature of this is about the same as the temperature of this, and we're just going to go ahead and pour the rest in and whisk that up. The reason why you do the tempering is so that you don't get basically scrambled eggs, which is what happens if you pour a hot liquid into cold egg yolks. You just get scrambled eggs, and it's not very pretty. You'll never get a beautifully smooth creme brulee like that. The next thing we'll do is add the pumpkin and some vanilla into the mixture. Make sure that it is really smooth at this point. And then I love this stuff. It's vanilla paste. I use it instead of vanilla beans. It's honestly, it's just a little more affordable. And I like it a little better than extract, although I use extract in some ways that I don't use paste. For example, in the apples for the crisp, I think the extract was nicer than the paste. Let's whisk that up. All right, that's all you got to do. So you can either use it like this or you can strain it, totally up to you. As a chef, I like to strain everything because it just becomes a little more refined on the palate. So what we're going to do is we're going to strain it. I'm going to pour it into little ramekins and bake it in a bain-marie, so hot water. Place it in the oven at 300 degrees, and we'll see how it turns out. So come right back, taste buds, to SoFlo Taste on the one and only Local 10. SoFlo Taste will return right after this. For more information on today's show or to see a recent SoFlo Taste episode, please go to our website, SoFloShows.com. There you can find everything SoFlo Taste. Welcome back to SoFlo Taste. I am blowtorching my creme brulee, and it looks pretty darn good. All right, so let's talk about a few things, shall we? So, this is what the mousse looks like once you whip it. Like I told you, kind of like chocolate whipped cream, and it is so good like this. Oh my goodness, it's ready to go. If you whip it any more than this, it will turn into butter and it won't be pretty, okay? But it is so yummy, you have to try it. This is our creme brulee. It's beautiful. You can either torch the top with a blowtorch, which you probably don't want to use at home, I'm guessing. You can set your broiler at high. Put a little bit of sugar on the top of your creme brulees once they're cold and been in the fridge overnight, and you can broil them. It works really nicely under a broiler. There are little mini butane blowtorches that aren't really blowtorches. They're like a little tiny flame. It's this little tiny, really safe tool that you can use, and that's great. Finally, we've got our apple crisp. Let's take that out. Oh, it's almost ready actually. And here's our apple crisp, woo, which is very warm. And I can see is just starting to run over the dish with the delicious apple liquids that it has inside. So let me show you the perfect way to eat a creme brulee. So you take it, using a spoon, you break it. Oh, did you hear the crisp? Hold on, I'm going to put it next to my microphone. Hear that? That was not the spoon, that was the sugar. So when you dive into it, you have this gorgeous crispy on the top and then a beautiful cream. Oh, it's so good. And it smells basically like fall. After trying these recipes, you'll be highlighting national dessert on your calendar next year. As much as I hope. You have to give these a try because they're all delicious and they were not hard to make. Next week, I'm highlighting another all-time favorite, macaroni and cheese, mac and cheese. I'll be giving you recipes from the basic to the divine in the world of macaroni and cheese. It's mac and cheese on the next SoFlo Taste. Now let's check in with Hunter Frankie, health and lifestyle guru of SoFlo Health. Good morning, Hunter. What have you got for us tomorrow afternoon?
Hey there, Michelle. This is Boo, and although the food that he's snacking on isn't exactly as good as what you're making, he seems to enjoy it. He helps out with equine-assisted psychotherapy, and we're going to find out more about it on tomorrow's episode of SoFlo Health, plus
how to make the most out of your push-ups and sit-ups.
It's all right here at 12:30 p.m. on the one and only Local 10 tomorrow for SoFlo Health.
Ah, okay, Hunter, can't wait. So Taste Buds, thanks for spending time with me. I'll see y'all next week. Goodbye, mwah, and good taste. Welcome to Deserted Island.